Again, we're on.
Beautiful.
On the lounge. Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Lounge with, and today we're on the lounge with Michael Viljoen. He'll tell you. So, Michael, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. We're going to have a little bit of a chat. So I'll just outline the process with you like I'll do with everybody until everyone knows the idea.
Yep.
You've got 3 sections to talk about. First section is past, from something in your youth, long time ago, that still impacts you today.
Yep.
Second is something recent past, like maybe the last 3 to 5 years that you're doing and carrying through today. And the last one is something that really annoys you. And we're lucky because we're on YouTube and Rumble, we can say pisses us off. So
awesome.
I don't know if that's a word. Pisses us off. Maybe that's anyway.
It's in your dictionary.
It's my dictionary. So. That'd be Sheanese, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Okay. So, everybody, this is Michael Viljoen. He's going to talk about him for a little bit. You okay if I ask you questions?
Yeah, no, go for it. I'm happy.
We don't have a timeline, but we're going to try and keep it around about 30 minutes. Okay, Michael. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. So I'm Michael Viljoen. I've come from South Africa. I was born in South Africa. Moved here when I was 4 years old. So I was born in 2003. And I was born in a little town called Witbank. So it's just outside of Johannesburg. For those that need to search it, it's just outside of Johannesburg. And came here when I was 4 years old with my mom and dad. My mom was pregnant while we moved over here. And yeah, just to answer your first question of that first memory, that long distance memory that carries through is definitely that big transition from that one country to another.
So I know it was a long time ago, 20 years ago or more. No, it wasn't. 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Can you remember what was the major impact in that transition? Was it the country change? Was the move, or
it was definitely more country change. So especially with the dollar to rand, rand being the South African dollar. Just to give you a estimate, we came over here with 600 rand. And
that doesn't sound like very much money.
No, because when we back then, if we were to convert it, that would have been around $60,000.
60,000 Australian dollars.
60,000 Australian dollars.
600 rand is 60,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that would sound like the wage over there would be really low, wouldn't it? It'd sound like you get paid 1,000 or 100 rand a year.
Yeah.
Which could be $10,000 or whatever. Do the sums, guys. Do the maths.
Yeah. But that included selling my dad's 2 properties. He had a stand and a house, and then there was a third house that my mom and dad bought together, and that's around the time when they fell pregnant. When my mom fell pregnant with me.
So that would sound like it's a huge impact on the family. I know it's pretty hard to remember when you're 4. Like I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. So to go back to when I was 4. I've got memories that I don't know were mine, that they actually might have been my parents' memories that have voiced things to me. Do you think the memories you have are yours, or your parental memories of them telling you stories about that transition?
It's a bit of both. It's very when people ask me what I remember of South Africa, the memories are very vague. Especially when I talk with my parents. They're like, oh, do you remember this and this? And then I remember some sort of thing, but I'll try and picture it, as they explain it, and it seems to remember it. But it's also my memories that's helped carry through of what my parents went through.
Yeah.
And how, because they poop themselves,
Yeah, yes, they would. You can say shit, actually. Oh sorry. But you can.
Yeah, I can, but...
you're a polite boy. Man.
Yeah, man.
Keep going.
Boy, doesn't matter. But, my parents pooped themselves, and it was really tough for them. And, by the age of, I think, I was in year 1, 2010, so I was probably like 8, 9 years old, and I went on my first few jobs with my father because didn't have the money to
Yeah.
hire a babysitter
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So
which
did you come straight to Gold Coast, or did you go to another city first?
no, straight to
Straight
Gold
here. That was
Coast.
their destination, their goal.
Yeah. So what happened was my uncle and my father, they had a talk about moving to Australia, and the first initial location was Ipswich.
Oh. Yes, for those of you who know Australia, I know those people live in Ipswich. Congratulations, heroes and fighters. Ipswich is one of those places you go through really quickly. I think
Yeah,
dry, cold, hot, everything that you don't want to be. That's what
that.
Ipswich is.
Yeah,
I think every
basically.
state's got one. I think maybe Gold Coast and Brisbane got two or three of them, but Ipswich is one of them. So uh, I lost my train of thought. So that was past. That was really cool.
Yeah.
What about recent time? Is there anything recent that sticks in your mind that's okay? So that's working with you today. Right?
Yeah.
So the past stuff, transition over, you come over from South Africa. Oh, that was my question. I had a memory. I had
There we
a
go.
seniors moment. Um, have you gone back to South Africa since you've been here?
No,
Do you want to?
no.
No.
It's a difficult question
Mm,
for me
mm,
because I've still got family over there.
mm.
I've got my Oma, my grandmother, on my dad's side, and I've also got my mom's brother and sister-in-law and my youngest cousin, Zoe. And it's very hard because I'd like to see them again,
Yeah.
but with what the visas and applications are coming through now, it's becoming harder and harder.
So just on that, that's interesting because if you were born in the UK and or America and you come to Australia, you can get
Dual
dual
citizenship?
citizenship. Because you were born in South Africa, can't you just get a South African passport
I can, but
and then you won't have a visa problem or anything?
well, I can, but oh well, I can't anymore because I revoked my
Oh,
dual
did you? Oh,
citizenship.
okay.
And I know people will be going like, why would you do that? Like, I know I've got family over there, but there's nothing else over there for me. And say I get into trouble going overseas and I've got dual citizenship. Say I go to Bali, right? Like with all other Aussies, I go to Bali and I get drunk and do something stupid. I get into trouble and they have to send me to my birth country.
Oh, really? South Africa?
So South Africa.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And there's issues where that happens and with South Africa being South Africa, they'll do everything in their power to keep you there. And and to,
Right, that's interesting,
and
isn't
the
it?
sad thing is Australia can't step in to help you because it's your dual citizenship with them, but your dual citizenship with your birth country.
Wow.
So they can't really help you there.
Yeah, yeah, just move right out of there. I
Basically.
understand why you did that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, 5 years, 3 years back, anything
Yep.
that's happened in and around that time that you find is impacting you now?
Impacted me negatively
Oh,
or
whatever.
positively?
And it could be both. You could
Yeah.
you could share both. You have a positive experience and a negative one because that's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone
No.
likes to be positive, but sometimes a negative is really good to know. So
Yeah.
go.
It's very hard. I mean, apart from the COVID impacting a lot of people, it didn't. It didn't impact me personally, family wise and friendship wise. It did, but personally, it didn't affect me because I didn't get. I'm unvaxxed. All right. I lost a couple of jobs because of that, or I
Mm,
couldn't get jobs because of that.
mm,
But in the end, I still got jobs.
yeah.
You know, I was able to work for a signboard company, cabinet making, manufacturing, and now I'm still in a new cabinet manufacturing, but um, I just work on the machinery.
Yeah. So when the COVID thing happened, and I say a thing because I don't know what it was. I don't know if anyone really knows what it was. You would have been 17,
I was still,
16,
yeah,
17?
I'd say, I think I was 16 when it hit. I was still in high school,
Yeah.
completing my year 11 and 12. I was actually, it was in year 11 because I was doing my diploma of business,
Yeah,
com
right. Did that
completing it.
affect you? The schooling and the blocking out and the lockdown and all that sort of
It,
stuff?
it did. Could be that it could have been I was living in a household of six people and just find it and studying with my sister and class Zoom. It's
Mm,
very with me. I like the personal interaction with
yeah.
my teachers. negatives.
Yeah.
Right. You get to sit down, understand where they're coming from a lot better than online.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
they try and show you one thing, but you're trying to understand another thing.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to communicate on the same thing. It's very difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's something about the face-to-face tactile expression and tone. It's so much different doing it like this than it is doing it on Zoom experience, and same with teaching. Like when the thing happened those years ago, I was trying to think about you were helping me with the online teaching of martial arts, and you go, no, that's just impossible. That's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Which we obviously didn't do. We just started back up again. Anywho,
Yeah, we did.
We did. So that was that positive or negative for you?
It was more so negative, but since then the positives um, have been more of an outcome than negatives. A lot more outcomes are positive, outweigh the negatives.
Mm.
I met a whole bunch of new groups of people. In that time, I was training at your dojo for 10 or so years, and I was instructor
Mm.
for. I was training to be instructor for 4 years, and then finally on my fifth year, became an instructor that you relied on to take classes, and I was really happy about that.
Well, everyone was happy to have you as an instructor too, because
Yeah.
you got as a Gen Zer, which is funny because I've done. I digress. A baby boomer and a Gen X. Now I've got a Gen Z. I've got to find a Y, and I won't do an Alpha. There's a new generation. It's called Alpha. You heard that?
Oh.
Gen Alpha. Yeah. No. Anywho.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was those times you meet a group of people. You're doing another like a charity organisation now.
Yeah, I'm part of. I say part of. It's a small. It's a subsection of Rotary, which is called Rotaract, which is for young people like myself
Yeah.
to collaborate together and to do similar projects such as Rotary. Rotary being a worldwide organization that helps with poverty, hunger, all that. But we do it more locally. So we try and raise funds locally and do projects that really matter and to help others that are in need. But yeah, I met groups of people like that, doing university, completing a course, working full time, doing subcontracting for others to help out, and starting my own business.
So just an observation from a baby boomer. You appear to be an exception to the rule for Gen Z people nowadays. That a lot of the people born in 2000, around that time,
I think it's from 97, 98 to
2010, 11,
2012.
12. So you got that group of Gen Zers that are all internet based and all social media based. And I'm sure you've got social media, like you should have social media. Like everyone needs to have a certain amount of social media, but it doesn't seem to control you like everybody else does. You don't seem to be the sort of young man that wants things given to you and handed out. You want to work and you want to achieve, and you've got a goal and you've got aspirations more than I've seen a lot of Gen Zers, male and female. They all seem to think they can sit on their phone and want an expensive job and get the $100,000 a year income by someone knocking on the door and saying, "Look, hello, here's a job for you." You don't have that. So do you think that is personally yours, or something that you've gained from the years of parents and
it's definitely a balance of both. Like I know my dad and mom were hard work. They had to be hard workers in order to stay in Australia. Otherwise, we would have been kicked out the first few months. All right. They were threatened multiple occasions that they were going to get kicked out unless they did so and so, which they had to. And then also coming to your dojo, doing stuff that boosts my confidence. But yeah, it's definitely a balance of personal and those that I've learned around me.
Oh, that's good. Oh, congratulations. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the fun. This is the best part for me. I love this part of this little interview process. You might have nothing, but there might be something that's there. So for the rest of the session, or we can go back to the other ones. Totally up to you. This is your time. I'd really like to find out something from you that really annoys you. I was going to say pisses you off, but no, you're a polite person. So something that really annoys you in the world today, like generally speaking.
Yeah.
Any topic.
Any topic.
Any topic.
That's definitely a hard one.
Well,
because there's so much.
So much. Okay. Well, that was. I think it's funny you say that because almost everybody says the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Well, how long do you have for me to tell you about what annoys me? I know I said pisses you off again then. So one could lead into many.
Yeah.
So pick one.
We'll just go back to the fact social media running young people's lives and them, like you're saying, being handed everything to them, but it's actually not the case. I reckon it's not the case because with Australia bringing in the dole and for the youngsters, I'm not on the dole personally. I have applied for the dole, but to me, I feel like that's cutting a groove for myself that makes me dependent and self-reliant on a entity.
So not so much self-reliant, but reliant on a. So for those of you maybe hopefully looking at this from another country, the dole is like social security. It's a welfare benefit that comes to people who haven't got a job to hopefully get them to the point where they've got some livable income and feed themselves and pay. No, doesn't pay rent. You've got to live with about 400 people to make that work, but enough to survive. Really, it's not a lot of money, but it is some money. I think that for me, and this is not taking away from you, but that reliance on the government is, as a job of a parent and now a grandparent, my job has always been to make my children independent. And you're an independent man. So for you to go into the dole, social security or welfare, is just like being with your mum and dad again. And you have to jump through whatever hoops mum and dad asked you to jump through when you were a child to get what you wanted, like tidy your room and make your bed and do the dishes, and which you do anyway as part of the family. And you get fed for doing that, like you don't get a wage. And that's a little bit like what this dole social security welfare is, isn't it? Like if you have been out there working, you're independent, and all of a sudden you then become dependent on government, then they own you. They own you.
Exactly. Right.
So how does social media impact that for you?
Doesn't impact me personally because I like to work for what I'm earning.
Yeah, no, but you said before social media is one of the things that drive you, and then that came into that.
So I've known a couple of people who let social media run their lives, and that causes from how many likes they get, how many views they get.
So how does it affect them? In your view?
In my view, it affects them badly, poorly. I've had actually people try and end their lives early, and just wasting that opportunity that's
because of a social media.
Because of what social media says, that standard that is being promoted by other celebrities, influencers, that isn't attainable on all accounts. Like you can be the most God can make you the most perfect being, but at some point you have fallen and you will make mistakes because that's what we are. We are human. We make mistakes. But there's these influencers that try and post and try and share their lives, that some do it to help motivate, but others just do it for themselves, for fame. And
so I know you're working into that process, but I see generations as they move through, and almost every generation has an issue about the generation that follows them, and they don't understand the generation they are in to see how things have progressed in every other generation. So for me, being a baby boomer, I was there at the beginning and the onset of the internet and computer technology and all those sorts of things. So as an adult, I can see that change. You were probably the first generation. I don't know if this is right. You can maybe do the look and do some fact checking for me. Probably the first generation that was born, well, you in particular were born into the internet.
Yes.
Well, you were born almost with an internet in your hand. You know, it was there. You don't know anything
Not
without the
yeah.
internet. Where I can go back and say, bloody hell, man, you've got no idea what it's like not to have the internet.
Yeah.
Well, we had encyclopedias and we had
Your
libraries and things like that.
shelves of
Yeah,
books.
yeah. But I think with that, even then, there was still a social impact on people. There was, and I think for me, and you can correct me, please, if I'm wrong, we had to actually go and see the social media stuff, the social stuff.
Right.
We had to buy a magazine
Yeah.
and see the beautiful people on the magazine. And that was actually harder for us to do that, so we aren't as impacted as much as you would be, because you just pick up your phone and all of a sudden there's a beautiful person there, or someone having a good story.
Yeah.
Is that sort of like what it is?
Yes. And that's what makes me so sad about it is we've got the most powerful thing in the palm of our hand.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I see it as a tool, right, to help me self-improve, not only myself but my life.
Mm.
An opportunity to help me pursue what I like to do and whatnot. But there are people who abuse it.
So how do they abuse it? I know I've heard that term a lot. I don't know what it means by abuse. For me, again, going back to that age thing, abuse to me is like a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'm of that school that says sticks and stones can break your bones, but names will never hurt you.
Yeah.
Or hurt me. But obviously they do now. There's,
Yeah.
there's that's another story of the poster at that school that had that. And names can hurt you too.
Yeah.
Well, they actually can't. Well, they can now.
They can.
So when you say that abuse, is that on Facebook abuse of telling someone they're ugly or telling them they're fat or they're thin or with all that? What is that?
Well, it's exactly that. But also it's also people that abuse it for dopamine levels. To come home and it's like watching TV, but you just scroll through TikToks and Instagram Shorts.
Yeah.
That's a new thing, right? That's coming like 10-second videos.
Yeah.
Because in today's world, an average attention span for a person is what 10 to 30 seconds.
Oh, I think someone did a review or a study on that a little while ago, and it used to be 30. And I know that as a teacher of information technology,
Yeah.
You get them for about 30 seconds and then they go off, they drift into something else. So you always had to continually change your tone, and so they'd bring them back to line. I actually think it's about 10 seconds now.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is, but when you speak to people, you can see them in the class. You go, oh, yeah, it's only 10 seconds.
Well, we see it.
Yeah, we do.
But that brick wall that just builds.
Yeah.
But then there's also people that take advantage, like you said, not physical abuse, but mental abuse. And that's just going, in my opinion, those are cowards hiding behind screens.
Of course.
Posting about someone's lives that they don't know nothing about.
Yeah.
And that's where issue lies with mates that I've had that actually talk to me about having suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And I try and convince, not convince them, but I try and let them see that they're cowards. They're absolute cowards hiding behind the screen. That are throwing the insults, that are making comments about lives that aren't theirs to make accusations about, you know. And it's very hard, just because of the generation. As from my eyes, it's also, I'm not a parent, so I can't talk much, but what I see is the parents wanting to be friends with their children and not, so that softness that covers their children instead of tough love, which I believe I've grown up with.
I think so. I know your mum and dad, and I know they've brought you up with that value to make you independent.
Yep.
I think the parents that soft love and want their children to be their friends are not parenting their children.
They're doing wrong by their children.
Well, yes, they probably are. They've got no value. They want their children to be friends from the day one all the way until they're old, without setting those boundaries of what is parental responsibility and what is a friendship.
Yep.
It's almost like, children should call adults by Mr. and Mrs., not by John or Fred, because John or Fred straight away represents that mindset of a friend.
Yeah.
And adults aren't friends. Well, they can be. It's like it's such a fine line, you know.
Yeah.
But those sorts of things. So back on that social media thing and the influence, and those people who are bullies behind the screen. Do you think, from a Gen Z perspective, that I see it from a different one, but I'll talk to mine after I ask you this one.
Yep.
Do you think that it makes people of your generation less trusting of people face to face?
I wouldn't.
So
That's a good
it is.
question.
Well,
It's an awesome question.
about relationship, right? So you I don't know, not you, because you're a unique individual, but most of the people I know in Gen Z, I've seen it, and you've seen it. You've seen it, guys, in the shopping centre. I'm sitting here texting you
Yeah.
next to me
No, well,
because I can't talk to you.
it's not just that. I've actually had. I'm not friends with him any longer, but I used to go out with this group, and I was the only one that had my phone in my pocket. Everyone had their phones turned up on the table, and what I found out at the end of the night, each of them were texting someone that wasn't at that table.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
Not like I try to converse with everyone
Yeah.
there, but they were conversing with people that weren't even there.
Yeah.
But I put aside time to enjoy the time with them, but they decide to talk to someone who wasn't even there. I understand. I know one person there that was actually concerned about someone's health. They had someone have, which I can. It's a borderline.
It is absolutely borderline, because you need to have time with the people you are physically with.
Yes.
And then, excuse me, I'm just going to go to the toilet or whatever, and then go and check and come back and leave your phone if that's really that bad. And if it's that bad that they have to text that person, they shouldn't be with you. They should be with that person.
Yeah.
And giving the person real love and attention, physical love and attention, not text love and attention.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, that's detached. Yeah. And that's what I was saying about, I actually don't know that children, young adults now, find it easy to communicate with people face to face.
To socialise.
They don't know how to do it. They socialise through their media apps.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's way. It's. I've been on dates where my date is in front of me, texting, and it's like I'm conversing. And it's like nothing.
Yeah.
They give me one answer reply, one word answer.
Yeah. So
it's like.
So what do you do with that? For me, that would be one I'd never ever have again. I'd never go and have a date with that person ever again. It's like, and I would tell them why.
Yeah.
And so the reason why is like, I think you're nice. You're a great person. We had we had zero conversation.
Yeah.
Because you were on your phone.
Yeah. No.
I don't live like that.
I do a 2 warning thing where I go, that looks important to you. Go sort it out if you need to. And they go, oh, and then they put it down. And then 5 seconds later they pick it up. I'm like, hey, I see, I'm not the one that's your focus tonight. So I'm just gonna stop it there.
Yeah, good.
And I'll walk you to your car or however you got there. If I drove them there, I'll drop them back home, and I'll just call it there.
Yeah.
I won't bother again.
Yeah, and that's a brave thing to do.
Yes.
Because most people wouldn't do that nowadays. They go, okay, and they just get on their phone and they do that and not have an interaction. So do you find that restricting?
Yes, very.
Hard to find someone who's prepared to drop their phone on the side? Can you set that up as a... Sorry, I've taken over.
No, you're
which
good.
I do.
You're...
Do you think you'd be able to set that up and say, come out for a dinner, or phones stay in the car, or phones are off?
Well, it'll be hard, but I call them gems in my life. These special people in my life, which I believe everyone needs to go look for them physically.
Yeah.
You can't find them on social media, on whatever platform, dating, Tinder, Bumble, whatever. You can't find them.
No.
You find them in person.
Yeah.
And that's where I found most of these people are in person.
Yeah.
You asked me where my phone was. Like, I left it in the car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's like it's not important to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's off my body. It's out of sight, out
face
of reach.
down or face up. Turn it
well,
up.
yes.
What are you doing, man? Really do it. Yeah, so
But
that's really, all of that's really important.
yeah,
Uh, and for me, the frustrating thing is false advertising on social media. You can meet people that aren't who they say they are. They visually it's a photo they had of them when they were
fraud,
20, or they've done all their face and frauds or filters, all that sort of stuff. Oh wow, this person looks fantastic. I'm like, catch up with them and you see them and go, no, that's not who you were.
No.
So, but this environment, face to face, you can feel the energy. Through a phone, you can't feel that energy. You can only put on your perception of the energy they're giving you, which may not be the energy they're really giving you, which you can get from this dynamic. All of that sounds fantastic, but everybody now is running through their meeting people on social media. Where do you go to meet people?
Um, oh, like I said, you just find events. Like for me, I found in the camping
That
event
Rotaract thing.
that Rotaract
Yeah.
function.
Yeah.
It's it's a group of camps that collaborate together to do different age groups. So you've got one that does 8 to 12, and they're called Ripen. Then you've got 12 to 16, and that's called Rights. And then that's Rotary Youth, um, Rotary Youth something seminar. I forget that T. And then you've got the Ryler, which is the last one of them, and that's from 18 to 26 or 28. And those are for, so that's a Rotary Youth Leadership Seminar, and that's your last one. At the end of it, you get a certificate to say you are eligible to be a leader, and you can apply to be any of those leaders from Ripen, Rights, or you get your pick. If you pick to be a Ryler leader, you only get 3 years running. So you become a helper of the leaders, and then you become like the managers, and then you become the team leaders. Then there's only 2 team leaders, and that's your 3 years up. You can't do Ryler again.
No.
And
so that's the end one, isn't it?
That's the last one.
That's 18 to 26s or something. And then can you go at that age? Do you then can you go into Rotary?
Yeah. Rotary is for elderly people, more so like
semi-retired,
30 and up.
Elderly, good on
elderly.
you. That's a Gen Z there, right there. Hey? Did you see that? Like elderly.
Oh,
30. Far
30.
out. God, what is that? Yeah, let's not go down to geriatric stages now. So what it sounds like what you're saying is for everybody to be involved in an activity outside, like a sporting activity,
something
or
that you enjoy.
Scouts, Girl Guides, adventurers, these things through Rotary. And then that allows you to meet people face to face and do activities with people that allows you to grow in experience and communication levels, all that sort of stuff. Is Rotary and all these other facilities affiliated? Is it a church-based thing? Is it non-denominational? Can anyone go?
Yeah, anyone. I haven't met anyone that's like the same. Yeah. No one's the same.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoy.
All cultures?
All cultures, all religions, all implicities. I can't speak. But
I know it's a hard word.
Yeah, any cult.
Yeah.
So, and but once again, people can use technology to help them find what they enjoy, right? You can go on Facebook and go to the groups tab, and you can search up arts and literature, or you can find groups or events, and you go to them, right? Don't pick ones that are online, because that defeats the purpose, right? Yeah. And then you've got universities, clubs. Yeah. Go join a club. Yeah. Right?
All of those. I think that's a really mature way of looking at the internet as a tool. I have to say, I look at the internet and I look at YouTube and Rumble for information. So I'm doing projects, as you can see around here. In the future videos, guys, I need you to look to see if there's been a change, and if you notice a change on the back wall, because I'm building a caravan and we're on the lounge in the caravan. But I go to YouTube and Rumble to look at how to do something.
Yep.
Oh, how do you do that? So I find it like YouTube and Rumble to me are like a library. And I can go there to get stuff. And sometimes I do look at the shorts on, that's right, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
And then I go, that helps me do what I need to do. So I use it as a tool, and that's pretty much what you're saying people need to do.
Yes, use it as a tool and not abuse it.
That in itself is a difficult thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael, can you give me some links to these Rotary things?
Yep.
So that I can put them in
Definitely.
down here in the description. And if you have a social media presence and you'd like people to communicate with you and get information from you personally through a private message about these events, can you give me your information about it as well?
I'll be happy to give my Instagram, my Instagram and all that. And
what is your Instagram?
It's m dot n for Nicholas, so m for Michael dot n for Nicholas, and then my last name, which is Viljoen, Viljoen, 75.
75.
But I'll pass you on.
Yeah, we'll put it down the bottom, so it'll be in the description down below, guys. We can keep going. Hey, this has been fun.
Yeah.
And I know there's so much more we can talk about. What I want to do is let you all know that, please, this is important that you, as soon as you get on, just like it. Like you know, there's going to be some coming up. So just go, as soon as you start the video, like it. I've had 97 views or 100 views on one of the videos already, and not that many likes. Like, you don't have to like it, just like it. Oh, I'm turning on the lounge with, I'm going to like it. Just like it straight away. Yeah. As I do every time I get onto Waffles and Whiskey, and you need to look at that channel as well, because that's awesome with Gerald. Get onto his channel on Rumble. This video will be on Rumble and YouTube. As I've said in the past, if you don't see an episode on YouTube, or a chapter on YouTube, it's because I don't think YouTube's going to like it. And if there's missing one, like 1, 3, 4, and 5, then number 2 is going to have to be on Rumble only. And go to Rumble and look at it all. The links will be in below to each of the videos down there. Do me a favour, do Michael a favour, subscribe to the channel, and share this video to anyone you know who understands the concepts of what Michael's been saying about off social media, get into a social platform that's with real tactile individuals, like Michael here. So, subscribe, and share. As soon as you get onto the video, like the video. Okay. So, as I said to you, would you like to come back at some point in the future for another chapter of your life?
Of course.
And we'll talk about something different. But all I can say is thank you. It's been a pleasure for you being here with me and with everybody who's watching. So get on the channel, share it with as many people as you can, and get onto the Insta, Facegram, Twitter.
Whatever it is today.
The one that does the private messaging.
Private messaging, Instagram.
Yeah, or Facebook.
I'll put my Facebook down.
Yeah.
You don't have to friend me, but I'm happy for people to send me stuff or just ask me questions on the groups that I'm part of, the camps that I went to. Personally, they'll help anyone. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And anyone. So. And on our on the lounge with Facebook and Instagram, do the same. And PM me if you want to be on this channel. And I've worked out the sound with Zoom, so I can do anywhere in the world. I know Chef's coming on soon, and hopefully Wile E. Coyote. That's from the Waffles and Whiskey channel. Don't forget to go to that channel and like that one as well. Michael, thank you so much. It's been a fantastic pleasure to talk to you today. Yep. And we're going to go, and I'll see you in the next chapter, whenever that will be. Actually, before I go, and I always say this at the end, Treos, and that's going to be that hashtag Treos, and enjoy your journey. Treos, by the way, if you don't understand it, is take responsibility and own your stuff. So Treos, take responsibility and own your stuff. That's good. And then life is easy. That's good. Enjoy your journey, Mr. Thank you. Thank you.